Hey everyone, we're going live here. If you're from my AI group, I want to begin by letting you know that we're having problems streaming to the Facebook group. So we're going to be streaming here on my profiles here, and I hope you guys are joining us. We're going to dive in and talk about a couple different things as it relates to ChatGPT prompts. And I want to encourage you guys to put comments in the chat here, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Please feel free to put your comments in there so that I can address any questions you've got. I'm going to give you a little bit of training here. I'm going to give everybody just a couple minutes to join in as well. And then we're going to go ahead and answer your questions. So we want everybody to dive in here right away. Let's go ahead and I'm going to begin by sharing my screen here a minute. Let me do that. And I'll be able to get that shared so we can talk and do some prompt sharing. Here we go. Make sure we can turn that on. All right, we're working. There we go. So we've got that working. All right, so we're going to give it just a couple minutes here to chat. I'm going to go back over to the group and just remind everybody that once again we're going live here in the group, or I should say on my personal page because we're running into some issues there. Let's go take a look and see if we've got any comments coming in the group. There we go. A few of them. All right. We're looking forward to having you guys join us on that stream. So let's begin by chatting about some things about ChatGPT and prompting. And one of the first things that often comes up that people ask me about is, so Jonathan, what's what's prompting? How do I deal with it? What do I have to do? And so I want to talk to you just a bit about prompting to get things started. And I guess I don't need my screen on for that, so we'll go on share for just a moment. So prompting with AI is very much like texting. So if you've got a mobile phone like most of us do, and you ever text anyone, you know that that ends up being a back and forth conversation. And you also know that texting can be rife for errors if you don't communicate well. In other words, we've got to give context. Prompting AI, prompting things like ChatGPT is really the exact same thing as if we were going to be doing texting. We're basically texting the AI tool. And like texting, it should be a conversation. It should be something that's going back and forth that is not just a one and done. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to be essentially texting AI. In this case, I'm going to be talking about ChatGPT a lot. It could be ChatGPT, it could be Google Bard, it could be Claude, or any other tools that are out there. I'm also happy tonight to talk about Midjourney or Dolly or any of those other common tools that are out there and address those. So we're going to talk about uh, prompting for in text-based situations as well as in graphical situations. So let's go ahead and take a look here. And I'm going to share my screen again as a reminder to everybody. If you want, you're welcome to put comments in. I see we've got people joining in here on the live stream. That's great. Don't hesitate to go ahead and log in and share your comments, and I'll be able to see those and respond to those as well. So let's begin by taking a look at one of my favorite prompting tools, and I'm going to turn off my picture Now can you guys hear me? Is that fixing it? I think that may be the problem. I was muted. Can you guys hear me now? If you can let me know in the comments, I apologize for that. Let's see if any. Trish, I don't think it was an operator issue. I think it was me. Can you hear me now? This sounds kind of like a Verizon commercial, right? Well, we hear you now. Great. Thanks very much, Titus. I appreciate it. All right. So I can't turn my screen off. So let's go ahead and just move back into here. The good news is the first part of it will play through. Guys, thank you so much for the comments. It's so good to be able to know what's going on. And I apologize about that. So what I had done there, and I'll just share my screen here again a minute. What I had talked about was how one of my favorite hacks here, and we'll go back through and review, is to, at the end of your question, add in this statement. Please ask me any questions. And we'll zoom in here just a little bit so you can see that. Please ask me any questions that you would like answered and allow me to answer prior to giving me the best response. So what we're doing there is keep in mind that ChatGPT is programmed to make assumptions. In other words, by default, if it doesn't have enough information, it's been programmed to try to fill in the gaps. In this case, that often means that we're not getting as good a responses as we'd like. And that's something we want to avoid. And one of the best ways to get around that is to simply do this. Say, please ask me any questions that you'd like answered and allow me to answer prior to giving you the best response. And the great news is this can work on anything. As you'll see here, it did ask me to do a couple things. It asked if I could share a bit about the job and the company culture. It asked if there were any aspects of the job that I wanted to do. And then I added in here that it was a sales job with Facebook in this case regarding paid ads, and I don't know much about the company culture. But notice now when it wrote me my response here, it actually referred specifically to that, about especially for a role that intersects closely with my passion to helping businesses amplify their reach with paid ads. So it pulled that right out of that response that I did, and that's super, super good. So a great tool that I absolutely love and can make a huge difference there. So just a reminder, guys, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to put those in the down here for me, and I'll go ahead and respond to those as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at another thing, and this is a question I get a lot, which is, Jonathan, do I do everything in one section, or do I actually take a look in different things? So in my sidebar here, you'll see I've got lots of chats, and each chat we do gets saved uniquely. I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat here, and when we do that, you'll notice in just a second here, it's going to go ahead and give me the other chat that I was on. By the way, I can rename these if I want by clicking rename or anything here. But this is important because this can keep your conversations in order. Going back to the texting analogy, just imagine for a moment, and I'll turn this off here in a minute, going back to the texting analogy, imagine for a moment that you're texting two friends. So if you jumped on early, you saw that we talked about being able to prompt ChatGPT is much like texting. And that means you're messaging back and forth. You might be messaging three different friends, and obviously those friends would not be familiar with the texts that you're sending to other friends. With ChatGPT, it's really the exact same thing. We can go ahead and carry on multiple conversations with ChatGPT in different chat windows. Those chat windows are, again, accessed over here in the sidebar, and it will remember the things that we talked about in that conversation. So if we're talking about writing social media, and we then have another one talking about maybe writing us a standard operating procedure, as long as we stay within those chats, it'll remember everything that we've told it within reason. There is a memory limit, but you need about 100 pages of content before it goes over that. So those are some things to keep in mind as we're going through. Jeff, good to see you on. I see Trish, I see T. We've got Luis. We've got a few other people on. Liz, thank you guys. We appreciate all the input here. I see we've got people coming from Facebook and LinkedIn. So that's fantastic. Again, if you guys have questions, this is a live session for you. So if you've got things you want answered, please put that down in the comments here. I'll see it pop up on my end, and we'll go ahead and get everything taken care of. Hi, Ingrid. Glad to see you join us as well. We appreciate you guys joining us. Again, just a reminder, if you've got questions, post them in. I'm going to do a few bits of additional training here, and then we'll go right to some questions. So it'd be a great time to throw those in if you've got them. So one of the things that I love to do, and that I love about ChatGPT, and I'm going to go ahead and let's just go out to a news site here. Let's see. We'll just go to Google News. That'll be simple enough. So if I want to go out to Google News and I want to find an article and say I want to write some commentary on that. So I'm just going to randomly pick something here. Let's see. Let's just pick this country music one. So I have not pre-planned this, so we're just going to take a look. It says former music legend dies, Margot Smith. I'm not even apologize. I don't know who that is, but that's okay. So let's say I want to write a post about this. Maybe I'm a huge fan of Margot Smith and I want to be able to do something. I'm going to do is I'm going to take this URL. So I've copied this URL. I'm going to go back into ChatGPT and now I'm going to say, please review this article and create a compelling, there we go, and engaging. We'll make it sympathetic here. It's a death thing. Pathetic social post about the passing of one of my favorite singers. And I'm going to just paste this in. Now what will happen here is now it's going to go ahead and you'll see it's doing some research with Bing. By the way, I apologize for any back noise. I'm in a coffee shop here doing this. So it's making some assumptions. Notice it didn't have access. And there's a reason I wanted to show this to you, because some sites, especially news sites, have blocked Bing from accessing it through ChatGPT. But here's the good news. There's a way around that. So I'm going to copy this. Whoops, I want to copy my prompt, not the other. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to now go into my sidebar and I'm going to click on Explore, and we're going to go to a custom GPT. Now you do need a paid account in order to be able to use this. There's no way around that. But I want you to do this, and we're going to go to Web Pilot. And I need to find the right Web Pilot because it looks like there's a couple of them out there, unless they've changed their icon. Let's just search here for Web Pilot. Looking for a blue one. There's the one I want. So notice there are some different ones out there. This is the one we want. So we'll go click on this. And it said it was not found. I gotta love it when that happens. Let's just go into another one. They may have updated it. Let's see what's going on. I'm hoping they haven't turned it off. It's been working just great. Let's see here. Maybe it's going to show up in some of these. Normally it does. Web Pilot, again, is one of my favorites because it actually goes out and looks on the web for us and identifies things that sometimes Bing cannot. So, all right, well, we're not going to spend any more time trying to figure that out because apparently it has been removed. So let's do something entirely different. I'm just going to go up to my website, which I know doesn't block any of these, and I'm going to grab a blog post. So maybe you've went out and you've seen some of my blog posts and you thought some of them were interested. And so let's go right here. 3 tips for tailored ChatGPT prompt engineering. And let's say you thought I actually wrote a good article and you wanted to maybe share that, but share with your own comments. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to create a new chat again. And I'm going to say, please review this article. I'm going to paste an URL and write an engaging social media post about this topic. And then say thank you to Jonathan Mask, the author, and include a link back to this post. And let's see what it does. All right. I don't know what we've got. We're obviously running into an issue here. This is a brand new issue that I've never seen before. So you got to love it. Always when we're doing something live is when we're going to run into a problem. I'm going to go ahead and reload my ChatGPT here. And let's see if we can try this again. Make sure that my screen's shared. Yep, everything's shared. All right, let's try that once again. Please, let's see. Tell me, let's try a basic prompt, just to make sure it's working. And we're definitely running into an issue. Of course, that's great when that happens. Don't know why I'm being blocked. Obviously, it was working a minute ago. But we're running into an issue. Can't get access to anything here. I'm wondering if I got logged out, folks. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and go back over to my screen. I'm going to unshare for just a moment. I apologize if the audio is low, guys. I'm sitting in a coffee shop. That may be part of it, but let's thank you for that, Ingrid, that you closed out and restarted. We're going to try that as well and just see if that, it looks like I actually somehow got logged out of that entirely. So I'm going to go back and try that again and see if we can get back into ChatGPT. So bear with me a minute while on the back end I go ahead and log in, see if we can get this working or not. Nothing like being live and having some technical issues. Again, I appreciate your guys' patience as we figure this out. I'm going to try to log back in. All right, I am back in. So I'm going to share I think that probably fixed it. That was a great share, Ingra. Thank you so much. So let's go back and share my screen again. There we go. And let's turn it on. All right, so now we're sharing our screen again. And let's go back to what we said earlier. So please review this post and paste the link in and write an engaging social post about this topic. Please thank the author for the inspiration. Now, why am I doing that? Because I think if you're going to copy somebody's work, in this case, we're not copying, but we're using it. We want to go ahead and we want to thank them for it. So let's take a look. So here we go. So we asked it to, gave it the URL. It's going out. It's grabbing it. It read the article. And now it's telling us the article 3 keys for tailored GPT prompt engineering on Jonathan Mast's website. So it identified who I was, even though notice we didn't say that up here. It emphasizes the importance of a conversational tone, providing context and engaging in dialogue with ChatGPT. It says the article is a valuable resource. That's good. I'm glad it likes my article. But then it's created this for you, and it says, just read an incredible article by Jonathan Mast on fine-tuning ChatGPT prompts. It's a game changer for AI interactions. His tips on treating ChatGPT like a team member, contextualizing questions, and encouraging dialogue is pure gold. If you guys want to post this, I'd be very grateful. This is awesome. A must read for digital marketers, and check it out. And then again, we talked earlier, although I may have been muted, anytime you guys see square brackets like this with text in it, that means that you need to update the text within those brackets. So what we would do there is we would then paste the article back in. So a great way for you to give examples and to share. Social media is a fantastic way to do that. And there's a way to write a post super easy. All right. So guys, talk to me about your questions. This live session is for you, and I can certainly share more tips, and I'm happy to do that. But I'd really love to answer your questions. Does anybody have any questions? I can see we've got, looks like about 10 people on live right now. What can I do? What things can I answer for you that would be valuable? Anybody got any questions? And I'm going to turn off a little logo in the corner so it's not over my face. There we go. Not that you guys really want to see me, but just in case. So if you've got any questions, let me know right in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and teach you one other thing here as we go through that I really like doing. So we've talked about adding to the end of a URL or the end of a prompt about, ask me additional questions for clarification. I just showed you one of the reasons I love ChatGPT is because it gives you access right directly out to the internet and gives you that ability. I was going to show you about Web Pilot, so let's go take a look in Web Pilot and see if it's back on now that I'm logged back into the system. So as a reminder, to access your GPTs, you go over on the side and click on Explore GPTs. And then we should be able to find ones that we're looking at. There's Web Pilot right there. Let's try that out. And it says the GPT is inaccessible. So it's having some issues here. I'm not sure why, but we're not going to worry about it. It has logged me out again, it looks like. I can still see my stuff, so that's good. Let me show you another one that I like that's really good. So let's see if we're going to get an error if that comes up. This one seems to be working. So this is a custom GPT that you guys have access to if you have the Plus account. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and post it over here. So it's called Viral Social Visionary. And if you guys have it, you're welcome to use this. It is a free GPT that you guys can use. Super easy to do. Put it right there on the bottom in case you can't see it. So make it a little bit easier for you to do. And so Luis asked a very good question. Seen issues when it doesn't seem to think it has internet access. Where I've seen the issue there, Luis, has actually been when I'm using Bing, and certain sites will occasionally block Bing. And so what I generally do is I go to the Web Pilot custom GPT, which it's not loading for some reason at the moment. And then I find that in my experience, knock on wood, I've never had it, that it's blocking the Web Pilot plugin, and that makes it easier for me to access that remotely based on that. Another one that I really like here, like I said, is the Viral Social Visionary. This one's free to anybody, and this is great because I can type in my business, and so in my case, I do digital marketing. So let's just say, give me a compelling and engaging social post on email marketing and the benefits to SMEs, which is small and medium enterprises. Now, what's neat about this is that, again, this Viral Social Visionary, it's been set up to automatically create compelling social media posts. And then I'm going to add in my favorite question that we talked about. Please ask me any questions. So let's take a look. Let's see if it asks us anything. So it says, in order to create an effective post about email marketing, it does have a few questions. So we're going to go ahead and answer these real quick and see what happens. I wouldn't have had to have asked the questions, and it would have just wrote something for me. But now I'm going to get a better response because I've done that. So number one, what specific benefits of email marketing do you want to highlight? And I'm just going to say, pick the most popular benefits, because I don't want to think about it right now. Two, is there a particular tone or style? I want this to be confident and, say, with a touch of humor, not too formal. Number three, as a reminder here, when I'm doing this, if you wonder how am I getting a carriage return, don't press enter, because when you press enter when you're doing this, it'll actually submit the query. But if you press shift and enter, okay, then you're going to be able to get a new line like I'm doing here. Number three, do you want to include any call to action in the post? Yes, let's say an invitation to my newsletter. And number four, are there any specific success stories? I'm just going to say no. And based on that, we're going to then say do it, and let's see what we get. So we got to scroll down to catch it. So again, we can see we're in Viral Social Visionary because it's showing us that right here. And let's see, here we go. So ever wonder why your inbox is always buzzing? Here's a hint: email marketing. It's not just for big players. Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, listen up. Do you know that email marketing is like the secret sauce giving your business an edge? It's super cost effective. We're talking big results, small investment, incredibly targeted. Say hello to emails that your customers actually want to read, and it boosts customer loyalty and charm, because who doesn't love a personalized email? But wait, there's more. This isn't just about sending emails, it's about building relationships. And guess what? Your customers are just an email away from loving your brand even more. Ready to dive into the world of emails and get more than just seen? Click the link below to join our newsletter for insider tips on making email marketing your superpower. And notice again, we've got the brackets. We would then put our URL link to our newsletter registration right here, and then we could go ahead and post it. And one of the other things I love about ChatGPT is it has the ability to generate images. So let's just have it. Let's say, please give me, I'm going to ask for two options, two images that could go with this post. And I like images that are a little bit different size, not necessarily square. So use 4:5 aspect ratio. I find that tends to work really well on socials. It takes up a little bit more of the screen than a square. And now it's going to go ahead and create, oh, there we have one of them right there. So there's one image that it's created, and see if it's going to do two for me. Oh, actually, it already created that one for me, and now it's going to create two more. So one of the things this points out, and it's a really cool, notice that ChatGPT, any of the image generation tools, they don't spell real well. I got love right, but it definitely, I don't know what this was, but that doesn't look like a good word. So again, different things. It did get email right in the window, but spelling is not its strong suit. So here's some other ones. Again, you can see definitely not its strong suit, but these images are pretty cool. This would be a very decent one to use. I can save those, and then I can post that directly to
my social media. So lots of options there to make things easy to use. All right, I'm going to go back and take a look here. We've got it's like T, you posted, you'd love to hear how you would go about building a business plan using GPT. That's great. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's walk through that. This is what this live session is all about. It's coming up with things that you guys want. So I'm going to go ahead and start a brand new chat. I'm going to go back to the 4.5, I'm sorry, 4.5, back to ChatGPT version 4. I'm going to exit out. And so building a business plan is going to take multiple steps here. So we're going to walk through each of those steps and how I might do that. T, can you tell me, do you have any area you want me to focus on, or do you want it to be more general? If you can put that in the comments, I'll go ahead and adjust that. But let's start with brainstorming. I want your help to write a new business plan. You are an expert business plan consultant with years of experience in crafting engaging and let's just say successful business plans. Now, why do I do this? Keep in mind that ChatGPT has an incredibly wide variety of information. And so what we're looking to do here is we're looking to go in and actually try to narrow it down. So by saying I want help to write a new business plan, I'm narrowing down its focus because it now isn't going to worry about, for example, politics or the latest news. And I'm going to tell it I want it to act as though it's an expert business plan consultant in experience crafting engaging session business plans. So let's begin with an outline. And the reason we want to do this is if we just ask it to write a business plan, it will, but it's not going to be engaging and amazing because it's going to be too much at one point. If you give ChatGPT too much to do, it's going to simplify its response in order to be able to work for you. And that's simply going to mean that you're going to miss out on a bunch of good data. So we're going to begin with an outline. And then I'm going to define a couple things here. My audience, if I can spell, there we go, is, and let's just say for this case that I'm going to open a new coffee shop, is residents. Makes sense since I'm sitting in a coffee shop. So residents and visitors. And I happen to be in Branson, Missouri at the moment. Branson, Missouri. And I want to open a specialty coffee shop. And the reason I want to say this is this again helps define where we're going. And so let's go ahead and press enter and see what happens. So it's going to give us some information here. It makes it clear that it understands what we're doing because it's going to create a business plan for a coffee shop in Branson aimed at both residents and visitors. And then it's going to give us, so it wants the business plan to outline, executive summary, company description, market analysis, marketing and sales strategy, product and service line. So one of the benefits we're getting here is it's utilizing its information about all of the everything it knows about a business plan to put this together. Oh, I'm glad to know you're not far away there in St. Louis. Yeah, this is actually my first time ever to Branson, Missouri. I'm actually, of all things, believe it or not, talking AI with a group over the next couple days. So I'm excited to be here for that. So, okay, we've got our plan. So now we've got a lot. And what I would generally do at this point is I'm generally going to copy and paste this into like a Google Doc or a Word doc or something like that. So just to make this easy, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to copy this, my clipboard. I'm going to go up and I'm going to do it in Google. So new, I think that gets me a new one. Let's find out. There we go. So there's my brand new Google Doc. And I can just paste that information directly in at this point and get what I want. So I don't want that message there. There we go. All right, so you can see that. Let's go back into ChatGPT now. I'll go back over to ChatGPT. And now what we're going to do is I want to ask it to write my executive summary. So it's got quite a bit to do here. I don't know if it's going to be able to write all this well, but let's try it. So now, please write the executive summary and its subsections, and include all relevant data. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to do my favorite thing, which is please ask me any questions that you'd like answered and allow me to answer prior to giving me your best response. So let's see what happens here. And what we're going to do is we're literally going to repeat this key for each step of the process. So as we continue to work through this, we're going to have it write this for each step along the way. So the key is, again, if we give too much, it's not going to know what to do. All right, so first thing it's asking us is business concept. What is the name of our coffee shop? Since you're from St. Louis, T, let's just say St. Louis Coffee Roasters. Number 2. Actually, this is still number 1. So St. Louis Coffee Roasters, could you describe the atmosphere and theme we're aiming for? Since we're in Branson, let's make it touristy. It's definitely touristy around here, yet comfortable and familiar, with a focus on ruggedness on the surrounding landscapes. Because if you've been here before, it's a rocky area. Number 2, oops, not quite done. I got one more. What types of specialty coffee or unique offerings do we have? I'm just going to make some stuff up here. So special, but notice it's great. It's walking us through this process. So we're going to do, let's specialize in coffee from Hawaii, the Kona region. I don't know much about coffee because I don't drink a lot of it, but I know Kona coffee is supposed to be really good. So let's find out. We'll leave that there. Number 2, unique selling propositions. What makes our coffee shop different? We're locally owned. We'll put not a chain. And we are active in the community. Number 3, we're going to leave the second part. So goals. What's our immediate goal for the first year? To be awarded the coveted Best Coffee in Branson Award. Do we have any goals? What are long-term aspirations? We'll just leave that off for now. We don't have to give it 4. Brief financial overview. You have an initial financial projections, and what's your funding plan? None. We'll just put, let's see what it does. We're not going to give it that information. So now we're going to dive on in. We're going to let it read here and see what happens. All right. So as we come through, notice it's picking up the information we gave it. So it's writing a nice concept for us, talking about where it's located, talk about our blend of tourist-friendly charm and comfortable familiarity with a design that echoes the rugged beauty of the surrounding landscape. It's pretty good based on what I gave it. What sets St. Louis Coffee Roast apart is our specialty in Hawaiian coffees, particularly from the Kona region, known for its rich flavor and high quality. And this is where ChatGPT is great. I don't necessarily know all of that, but it knows that about the Kona region. It's going to go ahead and put that in. And then it says we aim to offer an authentic experience that resonates with both residents and visitors of Branson, making our cafe a must-visit destination for coffee enthusiasts. Our unique selling propositions, I won't read through all this, but this looks really good. Good stuff in here rather than just being another chain. I like this in particular. It talks about being an integral part of the community. And then our goals. Our goal is to establish us as a premium coffee destination, aiming to win the Best Coffee in Branson Award within our first year of operation. That's really good. And financial overview. Notice we said nothing. We gave it no information on financials. Let's see what it came up with here. Because we're in the initial stages of business development, detailed financial projections are currently being formulated. That makes sense. Our funding strategy is centered around the combination of personal investment and potential local investors who share a vision for a unique coffee experience in Branson. Now, that's something that you may want to change if that's not accurate. Notice I talked earlier about how it's designed to assume. It's made some assumptions here. You can obviously change that if that's needed. So we've done that. And then what we're really going to do is we're going to have it just replicate that same type of thing for the next subsection. So our next subsection, I'm just going to copy and paste this, go back up. Our next was company description. So I'm going to paste that back in, but I'm going to take the executive summary and put in the company description. And since I don't want to answer any more questions, not that I couldn't, it would give me a better response very clearly. I'm just going to have it make assumptions and proceed so that we can go through this training. And here we go. It's going to now remember, because we've stayed in the same chat window, it's using all of the information it had to put into the summary now. And so that's providing a lot of benefits. Evan, thanks for joining us, man. We're glad to have you with us. We're just going through, T had asked us about possibly creating a business plan and how we would do that. So we're walking through that right now. And no, I'm in a warehouse. No, I'm in a coffee shop. So I'm traveling right now. And unfortunately, the internet in my room is not particularly great. So I'm actually in a coffee shop, making the best of it, because I promised you guys we'd go live. So I want to do that. So there we've got. We've got a nice description. And again, we'd want to proof this, but this is good. And then we'll do one more just to show you, because we're going to go through each step. So then we would want to grab the market analysis. Now, the other thing we could do here as we're looking at putting this in and trying to figure out where we want to go is we can also give it some information to search. So the market analysis, let's see, market analysis portion. So let's just take a quick look. Let's go to Google. And let's just look on Google. Actually, let's go and do better. Let's go on Perplexity. I love Perplexity. It's a great search engine, by the way, if you haven't used it. And I love how it operates. Let's just say I'm looking for information on what are we trying to search for here? Let me remind myself. Market analysis. So to help with my market analysis of creating a new coffee shop in Branson, Missouri. And what's going to happen here is it's going to not only give us some sources, you can see up top here. So it's found it's found 3 plus 10, so 13 different ones. But this is where it really sets itself apart from Google, in that it actually is now giving us an answer. And the neat thing about this is all factual based, so it's not making this up. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this information. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, and then instead of please ask me any questions, please use the following information. And I'll just paste that in. And let's see what happens. So notice how I'm trying to leverage multiple tools here, bring in as much relevant information as I can, and now it's using that information that I gave it to write this section of our business plan. As you can see, as we're coming together, it's doing a great job. It's even talking here about the target market in Branson, Missouri. It's not only cherished, it's resident, a popular destination for tourists. Very true if you've been here. This may not be a stat we love because it's only increasing a little bit, and obviously it's somewhat dated. But while that's writing, we can always go back here and say, do we have any growth information for Branson for 2024 and beyond? And let's find out. It may or may not. It's doing some searches. It did not give me any specific stuff. It said, yeah, it's back the same thing, so 2018. So we don't necessarily have anything new here. We could certainly do a little bit more research and find out with that, but we can actually continue and have this refine. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste these things back into my document. So I forgot about that as we've been going along. Let's grab this executive summary. We'll take that. We're going to post that here in our document. Just start a new page. There's our executive summary. We're going to go back in here now. We're going to grab our company description, copy and paste. I'm just going to highlight, copy, paste. And then we're going to grab this last section we wrote, which was our market analysis. So again, just copy, paste. Really easy once I paste into a Google Doc here to go ahead and actually make changes. But you can see already I'm on page 5. So just that little bit of work, we've got a 5-page plan set up that we're able to use and hopefully add some value to what we're trying to do with our customers. So let's see what we got. T, good, that's perfect. Gives you a good start. Good, I'm glad to hear that. That's fantastic. So Tina's got a question here. It says, let me just put that up on the screen so everybody can see it. I always tell ChatGPT who I am. I like your idea of telling ChatGPT it's an expert of certain things. So yeah, I agree with you on telling it who you are. That's great. What I actually do, and I'll show you this, guys, in a minute, is for telling it who you are, you can go in and create custom instructions. And I'm probably not going to be able to see it now because it doesn't look like. Reload the page and see if it gives me that option back. There we go. So if I go under my account, I can go under custom instructions. It's right here. Should be available to everyone. And now you get to fill out 2 questions, and this saves you so much time. The first is, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And so what do I do? Here's where I give it my name, my company, the things that I do, all of those things related to it. And notice it gives you some ideas here on some thought starters. You can put 1,500 characters in there. And I put quite a bit in there, including like my website and my phone number and email. And then I also tell it how would I like ChatGPT to respond. And so I used a Myers-Briggs personality test. This will be the last thing I teach you guys today, to come up with my personality type, an ENTP. And by telling ChatGPT about that's what I am, it knows a lot of information, and it's going to now write content that more closely reflects me as a person. It's also, I've told it how I want it to respond. I like the style and tone of Dan Kennedy. I write a lot of copy, and he's a very famous and successful copywriter. I also tell it who my primary audience is, so it knows that as it's writing. And the neat thing is, I don't need to put any of that in now as I'm creating my content. It already knows that and assumes that about me as it's creating or as I'm putting in new prompts. And that's hugely valuable. So thank you, Ingrid, for that. Let me show you that on 16 personalities. So if you want to do that, just go out to 16personalities.com, which I always seem to spell wrong, so I'm going to search for it. There we go. I won't charge you money. Let's go to the non-sponsored one. And you go out here, and for free, you can take a test. So super easy. There are different personality types that you can see here. So I'm in, I think it was ENTP if I remember. Let's find that. ENTP, there we go, ENTP. I'm a debater. My wife would certainly agree with that. And what's neat is, not only does ChatGPT have all of this information, it has lots more information. Notice this is just the first page. But I could go back to ChatGPT. And by the way, if you take that course, that quiz, it takes just a couple minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. You just fill out stuff on a scale, and then it will then give you your code. So tell me what ChatGPT knows about an ENTP on the Myers-Briggs personality profile. Doesn't make total sense, but I bet it'll do that. And let's see. It's going to give us, I'm certainly, a good overview of this, and I promise you it knows far more about this. So again, because of this, if I'm writing content based on me being an ENTP, it's going to modify the content, not substantially, but to a bit, to make it more like me, to be more reflective. So you can see it thinks I could be argumentative. I suppose that especially was true when I was younger. I do like risks to a certain extent. I don't like routine, so that's true. I do hope that I'm a quick thinker, and I'm definitely good at neglecting some details. So those are some definite traits that would be very true of my personality type. And by giving that to ChatGPT when I'm doing that in custom instructions, the great idea there is, Tina, and the great idea, by the way, to remind us that it's important to tell ChatGPT who we are. But by putting that in custom instructions, it's there every time I want to use it. And again, you can turn that off if you don't want to. So it's super easy. All right, well, guys, we've been running for almost 50 minutes. Before I go and anything else, are there any other questions that you guys have? Are there any things you've run into with ChatGPT that you want help with? Are there any questions at all that I can answer for you? I'd be more than happy to do that. Anybody got any other questions? So we covered, just as a recap, while you guys are thinking of those and typing those out in the chat. Thanks, Evan. I appreciate the feedback. One of the other things that we can do here is we can go ahead and do a quick recap, like I mentioned. Ingrid just asked a little one, so I'll jump right back to that. Ingrid wanted to find out more about AI graphics, preferably free to start off with. So let me show you where I would do if we do that. So let's put that one up here just a minute so people can see that. I'm going to go back into my window. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to a tool called Leonardo AI. So this is an image generation site that gives you free access when you get started and will give you so many free designs per day. And let's go ahead. I'm going to launch the app here a minute. Make sure that it's sharing my screen. There we go. So we can see that. I'll go ahead and turn this off. Rick's asking, how many years has ChatGPT been available to users? Just over a year now. The model behind it's been around a bit longer than that, but the interface that we're used to now has been around for just over a year. All right, so let's take a look. So again, Ingra asked about free image generation. What do we do? So there's lots of ways to do this that we can sign in. I'm going to just disable the share for a minute while I do that so that I don't share my password. Let me log in here real quick a minute. So I'm going to log in, and that's going to give me my account. Bear with me while I grab the relevant information here. And we'll get logged in. I just got to grab my ability to do that. Bear with me. I get my password. As soon as I get logged in, I'll turn my video back on so you guys will be able to see that. All right, looks like we're there. Let's turn that back on. All right, so I've logged in. One of the new things they've just introduced in Leonardo here is motion, which means you can take and add motion to your images, which is really quick. And here's some recent creations, so I could go down and get inspired if I want to by just scrolling through. You know, I can, let's say I like this dog Max. I can go in here, and what's neat is it's going to show you the prompt right here that was used to create that. So that's super helpful if we're trying to do that. And if I like that, let's say I want to create a new one, I can just say generate with this model. And it's going to ask, says my trial has expired. That's fine. So if I go back in here a minute, you're going to notice, let's take a look here. Somewhere it's got my credits. Here we are. I've got 150 credits available to use. And it resets every 24 hours. So let's go ahead and go back. You can see some images that I've created here. Let's go back to the one I was just at, and we're going to copy that prompt. So I can just go up here and copy that. And again, it's telling me that it wants me to pay to have that ability, but I can just paste it in here. And we're going to go ahead and generate. And it's going to give me, notice that there's lots of options here. Photo real, prompt magic, public images. How many do I want? So it's setting to create 4 images. By the way, that's using 2 credits each, so 8 of my 150 credits. I can choose different sizes that I want here and all that. And here I've got 4 images that it created for me that somewhat reflect what we had. So let's say I like this one here with the blue ball. I can click on it here, and now I've got different options. I can download that image. I can copy it directly to my clipboard. I can even remove the background. So it's going to cost 2 tokens, but I've got 148 left. So I can also do an upscale to make this even better. So let's click on that here a minute. And it says I need to upscale with premium. So I can't do that unless I buy the account, but I've still been able to generate one. So that's really good. Let's go back and try to maybe generate a bigger image. So let's go back to the same thing, but I'm going to, under image dimensions here, I'm going to go to the largest size they've got, and let's go to 1024 by 1024. I'd like it to maybe actually be a little bit different. Let's see if I can scroll down. No, the biggest I can go on my free plan is 1024 there. And let's go ahead and have it create 4 more images. So generate. And we're going to drop down to 137 totals. It's going to take just a second here. Gives you a timer while it's creating these so we can see what's happening. And we're going to wait patiently and see what happens. Oh, and I'd inadvertently clicked 2, so it only gave me 2 images. Let's grab this running dog one. And now that's a higher resolution image. And again, I can copy, I can remove background. Let's try that. Let's remove the background and see what it does there. Should remove that background and leave the ball and the dog running. Let's give it just a second here and see what happens. Let's see, here's the original image and no background. There we go. It did a pretty good job, pull that background out, so I could copy and paste that wherever I might want it. So super neat way to do that, and hopefully that adds some value. So Ingra, thank you for asking that. You're most welcome. I love that you got that. Let's take here a minute. Luis, thank you for the comments on the personality assessment. Appreciate that. Liz is asking, Liz and Mike, I'm not sure who, The best way to learn what prompts to use to create a sales letter to a school district. Okay. Well, let's wrap up with this one. We've got about 5 minutes left, and this will probably take about 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back into ChatGPT here a minute. I'm going to reload my screen, make sure that everything's functioning the way we want it to. We're going to go back into regular ChatGPT here. There we go. And just as a reminder, we wanted the best way to learn what prompts to use to create a sales letter for a school district. So first thing I want to address here is I don't recommend people keeping big lists of prompts. Just learn how to prompt, how to communicate with ChatGPT, and I think you get a lot more value out of that. I believe in that so much that I'm even putting out a training that's coming out in a couple weeks on how to do that, an entire course. If you're interested, obviously, I'd love to chat with you about that, but that's not our purpose here. So yes, Evan, I am streaming on Facebook as well. It's just not streaming into the group, as for some reason wasn't able to stream into the group itself. So we're just streaming here in my personal page as well as on the others. So let's go back to Liz's question. How do we learn what prompts to do? So there's a couple ways to do this, Liz. First thing I can do is I can say, you're an expert prompt engineer. In setting its context, please create a prompt that I can use to create an effective sales letter to send to a school district. I hope I'm understanding what you wanted here, Liz. If not, feel free to mention it and I'll change it. Now, this is going to be pretty broad right now because we haven't given it much information. But again, we can just ask ChatGPT what to do. So it's telling us it wants us to start with a hook, then it wants us to introduce our company, then it wants to address specific pain points and challenges, it wants us to put our solutions, success stories, and call to action. So it's really giving us more of an outline here than it's a prompt, but we can have fun with this. So let's go ahead and take this whole thing and say, oh, we don't have to copy it in. Say, please write this letter, this sales letter for me, and include, I'm just going to say variables, wherever you need me to input my information in this sales letter. So instead of just giving us a prompt, we're going to have it take its outline that it provided. Notice it knows who I am because why? I have my custom instructions on. We talked about that a little bit earlier. So it's going to, here's a good letter, school district's name, address, zip code, date, decision maker, subject. Transforming your school district's digital outreach with tailored solution. Now you may say, why is it doing that? Because that's what I have in my custom instructions. So it's pulling that in. Obviously, if you were doing this, Liz and Mike, it would be whatever you had. And then it's going to go ahead and write that letter. I'd want to edit that letter, make sure that was accurate. No, certainly it's got my information in it, which is not, but that's what I'd want to do. I'd want to put that in there. So Sherry, thanks for joining us. I was just using Leonardo.ai. So that is they have a paid program, but they also give you 150 credits every 24 hours. And depending on how you generate images, it definitely gives you a dozen or so images that you can create. And a great way to create those and have ability. I tend to use Midjourney personally, but the main reason I do that, Sherry, is the fact that I use a lot of my images for clients, and Midjourney is one of the only ones that I am comfortable has a licensing model that allows me to use those images commercially for client projects. I'm not saying the others don't. I'm just most comfortable with Midjourney's model, and I do like the way the images turn out. So that's what I use there. So Liz, thanks for the feedback. I hope that was helpful. Guys, I want to thank everybody for joining. We're coming up on an hour, and that's what I told you guys I would stick with. This entire presentation will be uploaded to the group. Even though this is in my personal stream, I will download it and I will upload it back to the group, and it should be there within about 30 minutes or less. So if you guys want to watch the replay, it'll be there as well. And then I'd love to know in the comments in the group or here if you want me to continue doing live sessions like these and sharing. If you'd just let me know, I would be grateful. I'm happy to do them as long as there's enough desire. So appreciate any feedback on how we can do these better to serve you guys more fully. With that, guys, make it a great evening. I so appreciate all of you. You've made this group that we have, our AI group, an amazing group. And if you've joined us, by the way, live and you're not in the group and you'd like to get in the group, I'm just going to paste a quick link here a minute. You guys can join us. We are now over, I believe, 41,000 members. So let me just find the link. Here we go. If you guys are interested, there is a link you can click to join our group. I know a number of you are members already, but if you're not, you can go ahead and click that and join. It is a free group. It is private. You have to request admission, but I give everybody access as long as you agree to the rules. So hope to see you guys there. Thank you again. I appreciate all the comments. Thanks, Luis. I just see that. Trish, Rick, Ingra, Sherry, thank you so much. Liz and Mike, you guys have been great, and others that are here as well. I'm just so thankful for all of you. Have a fantastic evening.